Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome in to Trainer Talk Tuesday. Here's Nate and my wife Larissa. Feel like I haven't seen you guys in a while. We've been extremely busy these last couple weeks. Had our kids turn 5, my son in general, and then our daughter turned 3 this past Friday. So we've been so wrapped up with that, and then also some other stuff that we kind of talk about within this video. So welcome in, come on in, get your seats, sit down, and listen up.
Alright guys, so it's time to really step out of your comfort zone and into greatness. And tonight, or today I guess I should say, we want to talk to you guys about our personal journey as far as getting out of our comfort zone and what that looks like, and also how that relates back to exercise. So if you haven't heard by now, you know that we have had many changes with our business. And during COVID, it kind of did a weird thing for us. We had a forced mandatory shutdown for 3 months during that time in Indianapolis, Indiana. We had a personal training facility that we were required to shut the doors to. And so we automatically had to change our business plan, and we went 100% virtual. So that's kind of the first thing here, guys. Is that when you get out of your comfort zone, there's going to be a level of you being uncomfortable, and there's also going to be some sacrifice that's involved there. So moving on, we had to change our business plan. It was uncomfortable. It was unlike anything that we had ever done before, going 100% virtual. It wasn't in our original plans for what we wanted to do with our business, but it was necessary for us to be able to adapt in that way so we could continue to serve all of you. But after that period of time happened, and I think it was a year then later, a year later after COVID happened, the restrictions had been lifted, but as you guys know, life just hasn't quite been the same in a lot of different ways. It's been different. Even, a year and a half later, coming up on it, things are just different. And for us, things were very different. Even though things were starting to open back up again, a lot of our clients just were not comfortable coming back in, one-on-one in person, or because of the changes in their life that COVID caused, a lot of them just couldn't make that commute anymore. They were working from home. They were homeschooling their children. They were doing all these different things from home, so it just didn't make sense for them to commute to our facility anymore. And so we found ourselves in 2,300 square feet, and we were training the majority, not all, but the majority of our clients were still virtual at that time. So this is where that sacrifice comes in, of really getting out of your comfort zone. We made the decision at that time to close the doors to our physical location in Indianapolis, Indiana permanently. This was not a decision that we made without a lot of thought and consideration. We weighed all the options. We were excited about this decision, but we were also scared. It was a huge sacrifice for us. It was very emotional. And there were oftentimes, I don't know about you, but I can at least speak for myself, that I questioned if we were making the right choice or not. Because, we had dedicated, 5 years? 5 years of our lives to this physical location and growing it and growing our influence in Indianapolis. And then,
you might have to call it 6 years, because that comment
yeah, so 6 years, I guess, in business.
Was leading up to that. We knew that we wasn't going to stay in that apartment gym for too long, and we were just trying to,
Yeah, so we did about a year in our apartment facility. Then we had our location. So yeah, there was a lot that went into it, and we were giving up a lot. We had to give up a lot. And I think a lot of times, you guys probably hear us making posts, or you look at what has happened from the outside and you think they're so lucky, they got to move to Florida. And yes, there's, a lot of great that came out of that, and we're grateful, and we are living in Florida now, which is ultimately where we wanted to be, but it didn't come without sacrifice. It was hard for us. It was very, very difficult decision to make to close your business in that facet, right? And to move you know, your family, your 2 children, your dog, 1,000 miles from home. And we sold all our belongings, guys. We didn't have anything. We did take our gym equipment, I'll say that, but we didn't have any personal belongings. We just took what we needed to continue to make money. So guys, huge sacrifice. Yes, we got to Florida, but we had nothing. We had nothing when we got here. So definitely a huge, huge sacrifice that took place.
Oh man, I don't even know where to start with everything that led up to ultimately where this video is going and where we're ultimately at now. But correlating this to exercising and working out, like I tell all of my clients, or if you're watching this video, if you're someone who I DM with and I spoke to you about your personal journey, and you know, you heard me mention that phrase, get comfortable being uncomfortable. And that's pretty much what we had to do. It was such an uncomfortable situation to be in because on one hand, from the dad / husband / man perspective, you know, I felt like shutting our doors and sacrificing that was a lot to give up, because it made me feel like, am I a failure now? Can I not provide and take care for my family and so on? Can I not help my clients out to maintain them throughout this transition? Because it was a lot of changes, not just only for us, but for our clients as well. But like Larissa mentioned at the beginning of the video, COVID did a weird thing where, yes, some clients were affected and they wasn't, you know, hit to the transition that we were making. But again, that's where we start talking about sacrificing and, you know, maybe taking a step or 2 back so you can gain 3 or 4 steps to get ahead. But it was just so much to deal with. It was such a weight on our shoulders as a family, as a couple, as business owners. You know, again, me in particular, I probably carried it a little bit more than I should have, because I'm always very reluctant to give in to a situation. But when I finally do get comfortable being uncomfortable, I'll always get a great reward at the end as well. So just like when you're working out and you're exercising and, you know, you're very reluctant to want to really do what you know is necessary and it makes you very uncomfortable, you find yourself, once you do get comfortable with being uncomfortable and you start to really challenge yourself and push yourself, you see that you start to get the greatest reward. You start to get this real good feeling of satisfaction, like you're really achieving something. Every rep, every workout is leading to something, and they all feel satisfying within their own right. But with our whole transition here, it was so much to give up. Leaving our families behind too is another thing. I think that was the ultimate thing where there was a lot of tears dropped when I thought about my mom, my sister, my nephew. Larissa thought about her sister, her brothers, her nephew, who is very, very close with our son Malachi as well.
All my nephews and nieces, right? But obviously Liam
in
the
particular,
closest in age.
Yeah, him and Malachi was born around the same time, and we knew that their bond and relationship was critically important. And as soon as we got here, that's all Malachi asked about. He couldn't wait to show Liam his new house, his room, and you know, he wanted to see him on video. So it was just a lot of things that made us uncomfortable, but we had to get comfortable with that feeling and understand the sacrifice that we were making so that we can achieve something greater in the end.
And same thing with exercise, guys. Like Nate was saying, just being comfortable with being uncomfortable. It's no different in the gym. That level of sacrifice that takes place when you get in a new workout routine, you know, you might have to sacrifice hanging out with certain people sometimes, you know, if they're a bad influence on your goals and what you're trying to do and where you're trying to go, you might have to sacrifice some time with certain people if they're not going to understand or be supportive of that. You might have to sacrifice just your time in general, right? Because if you haven't factored in working out or living a healthier lifestyle before, we know that it does require some time. And so you're gonna have to pencil that in, and that may require you to sacrifice some things. Maybe sacrifice watching some of your favorite TV shows, or sacrifice,
favorite foods.
Yeah, favorite foods, or
hangouts, going out, and again, this goes back to being with the friends. But you know, when you're trying to achieve something, you're trying to do something for the greater good. Like, and this can be with anything, any career,
whether it's
anything.
yourself, exercise, or
There's always going to be a level of sacrifice that's gonna be necessary for you to achieve it. Like, what's the other saying? You can't have your cake and eat it too. So you can't do both. You only can choose one. And when you focus on achieving and doing that one thing, you gotta give up some things in some other areas. It's the only way to do it. There's no other way around it. And human civilization and just throughout world history, it's always been that way, and it's not gonna change anytime soon.
There's a bug flying around my face, guys.
Yeah, that's why I'm fan. Some of you probably thought that I fanned. I did like this when she mentioned hanging out with friends, and it was probably like I was like, forget that. No, it's just this goddamn gnat or something.
Yeah, there's something just flying around our face. But yeah, so after you guys get past that stage of being uncomfortable, and now you have accepted what's going on, you have sacrificed what is necessary to get to that place that you're, wanting to get to, whatever you're trying to achieve. I think oftentimes people think, well, it's just smooth sailing from there. Like I said earlier, I think a lot of you guys saw, well, we closed the gym and then we went to Florida and all is well and good. But no, we know that when you get out of your comfort zone and you're trying to pursue something greater, you're trying to step into your greatness, your fullest potential, that comes with pain and then it comes with resistance. Very seldomly do things start going right away. And we know that. And we're no different. Personally, we were no different. Our situation was no different. So when we decided to close the gym, and it was an emotional situation for us, life wasn't simple after that. Just to give you an example, we had a lot of resistance, a lot of things that just weren't going our way. And I know that you guys know exactly what I'm talking about when you're just like, wow, like, why are things so hard? Like,
let me give a prime example, and this is one of the biggest things. I hope you agree with this too, but when we say this, we decided to close the gym. We knew that it was time to do something different. We couldn't just keep doing FaceTime and Google Duo videos and 2,300 square foot facility and not be able to use that space that we were paying for. Like, it just wasn't gonna add up.
And I gotta say this too, guys. I have to throw this out there. We did pay our full rent every single month throughout that entire process. Even when we were shut down, we did not get a discount, we did not ask for one. We paid that. So there was a financial strain that was involved there, and that was part of that sacrifice, and also what we're talking about now, that was part of that pain that we were experiencing because, although our entire business and lives had changed, as far as it came to maintaining our facility, that did not. Okay, so we were, having all this space that we're not able to utilize, but we were still expected to pay for every square foot that we could not use. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there because I want you guys to understand, like, the situation and how dire this was for us.
Right. And then as soon as we, started to make that transition, what I was bringing up is we got misquoted by the moving company. And again, like Larissa said, we was already hard pressed for cash, right? We're paying all this money, near $3,000 for our space a month.
You guys know that moving in general is not cheap. Like, moving out of state especially is not cheap.
Yep. And we weren't just misquoted by a few $100s or just $1,000. It was almost double the
thousands
amount.
and thousands of dollars.
So imagine that. Small business, you're already struggling through this COVID-19 situation. You're sacrificing everything that you have now. You're hoping that things is going to get better on the other side. And then the first thing that you're hit with is a misquote from a company who you spoke thoroughly about with me, Larissa, our other partner, her brother Jeremy. Jeremy more so in particular spoke thoroughly. We were all online listening to this because the movers was there at one point. But the company didn't take any, they didn't take any initiative to do anything different to help us out. Like, we just had to come out of pocket all that extra cash right there and there on the spot because the movers were there. And it was just like you mentioned earlier, is this the right thing? Are we making the right decision? Because it all started to seem that it was starting to go downhill real fast.
Right, and this moving company, we don't have to get into the details or anything, but it was very obvious that the mistake was on their end. And, as business owners, we expect businesses to, take accountability for mistakes that they make. We make mistakes. Nobody's perfect, we get that, but there was just no, there was no accountability that was taken on their end. And unfortunately, it put us in a bad situation, but it also put the movers in a bad situation because they were just there to do their job. The movers had nothing to do with it. It was really this broker company that sent the movers to us that was relaying poor information, and unfortunately, that resulted in costing us thousands of dollars, more than what we were expecting to pay.
On top of the thousands we was going to pay already.
And thank God we had it, to be honest with you, because we could have easily not have had it. But I see little God moments like that, even when we're stressed out to the max, emotional, because we're literally packing up everything and we're saying goodbye to this space that we raised our children in, to be honest with you. And then you're dealing with all this chaos and all this drama and negativity, and you're just like Nate said, you're like, did we make the right choice? Like, is it too late to go back? Can we call it all off? Is it really worth it? And that's kind of where we were. There was so much pain and so much resistance, but I know from multiple experiences in my life, when you're on the edge of greatness, when you are pursuing your purpose, when you are out there making things happen, there's a lot of resistance to that. There, all forces of evil, whatever you want to call it, they will come for you. And they're going to hit you with your greatest triggers. And, I know for me, I don't know about for you.
Biggest fears.
Your greatest fears, your biggest triggers, like money is it for me. Because I'm a little bit of a control freak when it comes to money. I like managing money. I'm good with numbers. And so I've noticed that every time, I try to step out, or we try to step out together as a family to do something great, it's like something crazy happens with our finances. Something insane. It's like it cannot be predicted. It's just like, you just know that things are working to try to, delay what's about to come, because the greatness is going to come, right? Whatever your purpose is, if you are actively pursuing it, it will come to be. But I truly do believe that things happen to waste our time or to redirect our attention somewhere else, even if just for a moment, right? To just delay that process. And I think that is exactly what happened to us. It was trying to make us lose focus. It was putting us in a very negative mindset. We could have easily lost ourselves with that situation and other situations that came. That was just one example. There was so much going on that was just not working in our favor at all. And when this relates back to exercise, guys, clearly when you are in a new workout routine, it's painful, all right? At the beginning, if you're working certain muscles that you're not used to working and you're moving in certain ways that you don't normally do, you're going to be sore. You're going to be sore. There's going to be pain that is associated with that. And there's going to be resistance, right? Oftentimes when people are losing weight, I always tell my clients success is never linear. And that's true when it comes to your fat loss goals, your fitness goals. That's true when it comes to your personal and professional goals. Success is never linear. If it were, then everybody would do it. If it just everything was good and just constantly got better, but no, we know it's not like that. And when you are trying to lose fat, it's not like that either. Oftentimes I'll have clients lose 3 pounds and then they'll gain back 2, and then they'll lose 2 more and then they'll gain back 1, and then they'll lose, it's just it's this up and down. And that's exactly what it is with your health and fitness journey. It's not linear. You're going to have highs and you're going to have lows. And personally, outside of fitness, that's what we were, experiencing. And when we decided to close our business and make that sacrifice, we were at a low point for a while. It did, it didn't just, have that one thing of the moving situation and then we went back up on a high. No, we were down in that low part for a while. Like, you guys got to factor in, it had been a year since COVID happened, and I'm telling you, that whole year was not good for us. That was a low point in our lives. And I ultimately do believe that God allows low points in our lives to happen to get our attention so we are forced to make a change. And I truly believe that's what happened to us. So moving on, guys, when you get out of your comfort zone and you start stepping into greatness, number 3 here, there's always a waiting period. There's always a waiting period. It does not just happen overnight. And like we said, that low point, those valleys, don't just stay for a day. They're typically, over a span of a period of time. And whether you're, in a low point, or you're neutral, or you're even, feeling good about your situation, there's always a waiting period. You don't just step out of your comfort zone and automatically you're just, doing and living the way that you had always dreamed of. It doesn't work like that. So there's always that period of time where it's just like things feel very stagnant, right? And that was definitely the case for us.
Yeah, the one thing you can't do when it comes to that waiting period, and it's very easy to do because it's hard to tell sometimes, is you just kind of sit there and lay dormant, where you just think about and you hope for that next situation to arise, but you're not putting any work towards it. So it's very critical for you throughout that waiting period that you actually go out and you still do and you work at that goal, what it is that you're trying to accomplish. Again, you got to continue to put effort into it. You got to continue to remain focused because there are going to be a lot of distractions, a lot of reluctancies, and things that take place in that nature. But that period of time can be short-lived or it can be long spread. But it's really going to be based on how hard you're driven as far as just your work ethic, your level of focus, and just your overall just want for it. Because guys, the hungrier you are, when you're hungry and you're driven to do something, trust me, at some point you will achieve it. But it's always going to come down to how much work are you putting in towards it. Sometimes it takes longer for other people, and for other people it's shorter. But guys, when you are in your waiting period, when you are transitioning, you need to make sure that you're still doing all the necessary things that is dependent upon you so that you can still achieve that goal. It could be tomorrow, it can be next month, it could be next week, or it can be today. It could be at any time, but you got to keep that open mind. You got to stay positive throughout, which is another big one, because it is easy throughout that waiting period where you can just be compounded with a lot of negativity because you already sacrificed so much. You're already feeling a great deal of pain, right? So now, while you're waiting and you're still trying to achieve that goal, if it's not coming as fast as you want it to, which it never does for any of us, right? We want it when we want it, like when we want it. Like, so if you're not getting what you want when you feel you should, all that's going to do is provide a level of stress, which is going to end up hindering your overall performance and keeping you from reaching and obtaining that goal sooner than you could have. So very critical, and just like with exercise, again, we talk about, making yourself uncomfortable, sacrificing, giving things up. When you're on that journey, now you're feeling some pain, you're a little reluctant sometimes, you're resistant against it. And then you have that waiting period. You're on that up and down scale, like Larissa mentioned. You're seeing some positives, then you're seeing some negatives, then you're seeing positives, then you're seeing negatives. It's an emotional roller coaster, right? But you got to stay as positive as you can and continue to make every best decision possible when you can. So when you go into the store and you're feeling a little depressed, you're down, you feel like, hey, I just gained 2 pounds, or I didn't lose anything this week, I'm going to go ahead and have this cheat meal or indulge in something that you know is going to end up ultimately making you go back even further. So guys, you just got to stay positive. You got to stay with it. And again, the more driven you are, the more work you do towards it, the sooner you can obtain it.
I think that's like a great point to, take heed of, is that during that waiting period, consistency. Like, that matters more than anything. Like Nate said, putting in the work. Whether that's in your exercise routine, right? You don't get to do just, a couple of crunches and then you have a 6-pack.
I wish.
We wish. If we could actually figure out a way for that to happen, we would probably be billionaires.
I wouldn't have to shoot 30 videos for an ad program. That would be
Yeah,
amazing.
so, we know that that's not how things work, not with our exercise or health routine, and not in our everyday lives. And again, guys, for us, our waiting period during this transition, we had a lot of them, but, we had a waiting period. Once we closed the gym, we didn't move to Florida right away. We actually stayed with one of my friends and her husband. They so graciously welcomed us in their home. Us, our 2 kids, and our dog, okay, which is a lot to take on. For an entire month, we stayed with them. Mm-hmm. And, we did this for a lot of reasons. One was we wanted to see what was going to happen. We were so unsure of things at that moment when we had closed our facility. We wanted to make sure that we were going to be okay from a legal standpoint, from a professional standpoint, from a personal standpoint. We just needed to be okay. And so there was a waiting period during that time where, we're just here and we're like in the middle of transitioning. And during that time, we still posted workout videos. We posted free content every single day. We didn't miss training with our clients. We were consistent. And then even when we got to Florida, right, and there was issues with that, there was still a waiting period for a couple of months where we're like, okay, we know that this is where God wanted us to be. This is ultimately where we wanted to be. Now what? We were planning on doing the virtual training full time, and then we're like, oh, well, we got to provide something for locals. We're going to do mobile and in-home training. And
which led us to drive all over the St. Pete / Clearwater / Dunedin / Tarpon Springs, just all over through this area here, looking for different workout areas. Like, there's a lot of different fitness zones, what they call them here, where recreational parks have different fitness stations, and we was going to utilize those and just meet clients depending on where they are located in conjunction with those areas. Then, okay, on this day we'll be here and we'll meet you there. Sounds a lot complicated, right? But we was just trying to stay consistent and figure out something, because we knew that we was never going to give up on our dream. We was going to stay consistent. We started increasing how we was training ourselves and focusing on our own appearance and our own enthusiasm as far as making sure our bodies were going to be healthy, making sure that we were going to be able to just be functional and goal-oriented enough that, hey, we still got to get these things done. We didn't know. We wasn't in agreement. Larissa wanted the more, hey, let's get a mobile van and let's travel and do stuff on the spot. I'm like, heck, I would like to look into getting another space, just not as big, something a lot more smaller, less risk to it. Now that we know after serving 5 years and never settle, we don't need 2,300 square feet. We don't need half of 2,300 square feet. Just a fourth of that would be enough for just what me and Larissa was offering and what our services entail as far as what we specialize in. So there's just a lot of disagreements, but none of that ever caused us to stop working towards it. We figure it out.
Yeah.
We gotta still do something. We gotta stay consistent with the boot camps. We gotta stay consistent with the trainer talks. We gotta stay consistent with taking care of ourselves. We gotta stay consistent with making sure that our family, our kids, have everything that they're gonna need. Like, there's no excuses. You just have to get it done.
And in that waiting period, guys, like we said, consistency is key. But I'll say this, during that waiting period, you're not gonna feel like doing anything that's going to be productive to reaching your goals or to pursuing your purpose. You're not going to feel like it. I can tell you numerous times before we shot live videos here right in front of you that Nate and I were fighting right beforehand, or there was chaos, the kids were screaming, and there was nothing more that I wanted to do than to just call it off and say, nope, we're not doing this tonight. We're not going to go live. No, I'm not going to make this post. No, I don't want to talk to anybody. No, I'm going to cancel all my clients for the day and sleep the day away. I wanted to do that probably more times than I care to admit, because again, we were still in that pain and resistance period in that waiting period, right? So it's just like we were getting attacked from every different angle, and it's just exhausting. It's exhausting, and I know all of you have been in a situation like that where you're just like, why is everything so hard? Why does everything have to be so difficult? Why can't one thing go right? And it's just the smallest things. Even like, going out and getting food and someone messing up your order is enough to like put you over the edge when you are in that kind of mindset. And like we were definitely there where we were just like everything was just like setting us off. And I'm here to tell you, you're not gonna feel like reaching your goals during that waiting period or that period of pain and resistance. You're not going to feel like it. But if you based every decision that you made on whether or not you felt like it, you would never get anything done. You would never be successful. You would never reach your dreams. You would never be the person that you were created to be. Because we know, just as much as you know, that if you really want to step out of your comfort zone and get into greatness, that you got to do a lot of things that you don't want to do. You got to be consistent with those things. Even when you don't feel like it, even when you had a bad day, even if you got in a fight with your husband, or the kids are screaming, or the dog is barking, you got to figure it out anyway. And so we were in that period for a very, very long time. Very long time. Even after moving to Florida, several months. We didn't get to Florida. There was some relief to it. I'm not going to lie to you, because we got to Florida and the sun was shining and, there's water, and you're like, okay, none of my problems in my life changed, but I can go to the beach. So there was that. I'm not going to lie to you, that was helpful, at least for me mentally. I'm like, you know what? If nothing in my life is going to change except for the fact that I can be here in this environment, then, I'm okay with that. I'm grateful for that. So I think that God allowed that for us to just like have like that win, with all these things where it feels like you're not winning, to have that peace. And we really needed that peace during this time. So we did have that, but things were still difficult. And we were unsure. We were unsure of a lot of things. So, we talked about the mobile, we were going to do virtual full-time, in-home, all this different stuff. And realistically, that's a lot of driving, as Nate mentioned. And then also, training people outdoors in Florida, we quickly realized that just was not going to be conducive.
Especially with these summer months that are now starting to set in.
Guys,
it's getting blazing hot outside, and it still hasn't hit its peak. I talk about it every day with someone who's been here for a while, and they just say, man, just wait till July, wait till early August. And I'm just like, it gets worse than this. So, it wouldn't have been conducive at all.
And I think Nate and I can work outside and be okay. We're young, we're healthy, we've been working out for a while, but like our average client who, may be in their 50s or 60s, might not be in the best of health. Them standing outside, working out, exerting energy that they are not used to doing, it just wasn't wise. And we're never going to put our clients in a compromising situation. So for us, that was just like, man, this really can't happen during like peak training hours. We would have to train people early in the morning or very late at night for this to work, and then that leaves us this huge gap of where we cannot work or make money, which obviously doesn't work well for a business. So, we were just like, God, what do you want us to do? Like, make it make sense. And like Nate said, he wanted the smaller location, somewhere to be. I more so was like, I'm over that. I don't want the stress of it. Let's just buy a van, fix it up, and do mobile. Like, go to people and make it work that way. So I say all that to say this. You're going to go through all these different things when you're really getting out of your comfort zone and you're trying to pursue something greater. You're going to face all these obstacles and challenges. And, ultimately, if you're consistent and you don't give up and you keep pushing forward, the reward comes next. So after you've, really gotten uncomfortable and you've sacrificed a lot and you have that pain and that resistance and you're in that low period for a waiting time where things just don't seem to be going the way that you planned, when you choose to not give up, that's where you ultimately catch a break. Something happens and things just shift and you feel better. And everything happening around you starts working in your favor instead of against you like it had been doing for so long. And I do believe that there are seasons for everything. There's seasons of pain and there's seasons of prosperity. And if you don't give up, because oftentimes I found out just observing people and in my own lifetime that, Nate and I are no different than you guys. We don't have any crazy secret to tell you. We weren't given advantages growing up to run our own business and to get to this position. Literally, every single person in this world has the decision to be successful, and it ultimately comes down to not giving up. I have found that people miss out on their blessings because they give up too soon. So it's like you've gone through all this resistance and pain and sacrifice, and you're just like almost there, and then you quit. And so it was all for nothing. You have no idea what was just a couple more days or a couple more posts or a couple more prayers or whatever it was. You were just right there. And you turned around and you went in the opposite direction, and all that time was for nothing. And like Nate said, we're just not the type. That's why our name, Never Settle. Like we weren't going to settle. We were going to figure out how to make it work regardless of the circumstances, no matter what. And so ultimately, when you just keep chipping away and chipping away and chipping away, you're going to find that diamond. And I feel like that's where we're at now. And as I said before, there's seasons for everything, and I do believe that we are fully walking into a season of growth and prosperity in our lives. I think that not only do we deserve it, but it's just time for it. It's just the time and place and season for this to take effect into our lives. So I don't know if you want to talk more about what's going on.
No, you can keep going. I feel it when necessary. I did want to mention though that with number 3, going back to the waiting period, that like I said, try your best to focus on those very, small positives that take place, or maybe even large positives. I know a big win for us, or at least something for me throughout that waiting period, was when we got the official confirmation that we were getting this house. Not only was I glad that, okay, we got a place to live in Florida, but it's 3 minutes from the beach.
It's in a great area.
How lucky
great
were we with that?
Great school system.
And everybody that knows Florida who lives here, we stay over in Seminole. Like, oh man, that's a great area. It's got this, it got that. And then obviously just living here and just looking around, everyone takes care of their homes, their yards, and everyone is very kind and they waving at each other. Everyone is kind of looking out for each other. It's a really nice place to be. And then again, it's 3 minutes from the beach. And I know when it was coming to us looking for a place here, I was just like, I just want to get there. I can figure the rest of the stuff out later. I just need to get something and secure it now so that when this transition here is over, being at Larissa's friend's house, that we were going to have something set up and ready for us when we got here. I didn't know it was going to be this much, but that did kind of lay the foundation. We got this house
without ever seeing it.
Yep, without ever seeing it. But it laid the foundation for me personally of, man, this is going to be a great, great transition. And then we got that snowstorm back in Indianapolis throughout the whole Midwest. I know Texas, they got an ice, like it froze over in certain parts of Texas. And we had all that crazy weather. And I was just like, this is one thing that I was going to be happy to get away from. So this snowstorm right here, which is some of the most snow we've gotten in a long time in the area, I was like, all right, this is that official confirmation. I'm not coming back. I'm ready to get the heck out of here. But right around that time, we got on the phone and the landlord called us back and told us that he was choosing us for the home because he said it didn't necessarily come down to the money for him. It came down to the people that were going to be in the house, where they're going to respect it, and where they're going to be decent people, so on and so on. And Larissa wrote him a hell of a message, apparently. I guess he wanted to see us fulfill our dreams and play a role in that. He called back and told us the house was ours. And right then and there, I got extremely excited. overwhelmed a bit in a great way, just overwhelmed with joy and just happiness. Like, oh, I can't believe we got that house. And I kept looking and showing it to everybody that I knew, mainly my clients. I started doing some in-home sessions around that time because, like we trying to say, we just trying to remain consistent, keep doing those good work. So we were still doing the virtual videos, but I even told some of my clients that I wasn't going to see that were still sticking with me, hey, I'm going to come to you. I'm going to make sure I give you the most that I can personally before I go away. But I just want you to know how much I value spending this time with you and helping you achieve your goals, and you valuing my services to you in our relationship by sticking with me throughout the whole COVID-19 pandemic. But there are some small rewards there in the process of this ultimate reward that you should focus on, because there's going to be a lot of negativity just thrown on top of that, but don't let those positives go without notice, guys. But leading up to where we are now, like we said, you stay consistent. You make yourself uncomfortable. You sacrifice something. You deal with the pain and the resistance of it. You stay consistent throughout that waiting period. And like you said, you can be right there, and you just turn away, and it was all for nothing. We never turned away. We just kept going and going and going, even without knowing in particular. And even with where we at now, I think we would both say we were even reluctant to go and meet some of these folks. When we got here, a couple businesses reached out to us, and we was kind of reluctant to really jump into that.
A lot of businesses reached out to us.
Yeah, more so with you, because you run the social media sites and making all the posts. But I was getting a lot of the notifications. Obviously, I'm an administrator on the pages, so I get to see a lot of these interactions. I'm just doing other things, so I'm not interacting as often. But I was seeing all these people reaching out, and being in Indy, where we served for 5 years, we didn't really have a lot of business ties with people. We had a few, but not a lot. It was much more of a competitive market where everyone was out to kind of work against each other. And we tried. So it was kind of.
It just wasn't.
It was
unfamiliar.
unfamiliar.
It's just a different mentality.
Yeah, it was very unfamiliar.
It.
Southern hospitality is a real thing. That's the best way to say it. Southern hospitality is a very real thing. But a couple of these businesses reached out to us. They loved the way Larissa was posting. They loved our consistency, the story we were telling. And we was kind of unsure about going out just because we felt like maybe it's going to be a waste of time. You know, are they going to be willing to work with us as much as we're going to want to work with them? Lo and behold, we went out and we met this awesome business called Hydrate and Heal. They wanted to show us some of their services and kind of talk to us about ways that we can be compatible and work together to help heal people. And it turned out to be so much more than I was ever expecting it to be, ever. We also went out and seen a massage therapist at this place called Peace Warriors over in downtown St. Pete. Really great guy, Scott Roberts. And we went and sat down and talked to him. And another just blew my mind about how not only were these just really great people and they're really, just welcoming and nice folks, but how open they was with actually doing business together, which is something that we were always big on. We try to provide a lot of opportunities for people back in Indy, so we were just kind of unfamiliar with it. But now, I'm sitting here today on, June 1st? June 1st, 2021. We're one day away from opening our new training studio here in St. Pete. We already signed the lease.
Technically Clearwater.
Yep, Clearwater. You get the idea. But here where we live now, and again, we had no idea. Larissa didn't even want to do a space again. I didn't know where the space was going to come from, but I knew that I was willing to work my ass off to make that space happen again. Some way, somehow, just not as much as we had before. Something that was more of a mind pie type setup. And we always wanted to be around like-minded folks. We always wanted to offer some services or get ourselves certified in some areas so we can offer some services that we just wasn't ready to then. And when we found this gym when we got here, or this gym found us, and then we came together, and now we entered into a partnership. And I can let you talk a little bit more in depth about that, and then I'll jump in again as we go on.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, I was very hesitant on having a space again because we had just closed ours. There was still a lot of raw emotion associated with that, and a very I would say I'm a realist. I think other people might not say that. that. But I'm very much look at like the pros and the cons of situations. And for me, before meeting Heather and Lenny at Hydrate and Heal, I was just very against having a physical location because I felt like we had already sacrificed so much. And I didn't want to keep sacrificing anymore, so I wanted to eliminate that level of risk. And even though that's where my mind was going in my heart, I've always known that nothing great in life ever happens without risk, right? That's what we're talking about today, getting outside your comfort zone, taking a risk. And, you know, I knew ultimately that we had to do something. We had to do something. And so when we met Heather and Lenny over at Hydrate and Heal, we instantly connected with them. We enjoyed them personally, but also we loved what they had to offer professionally, and it really aligned with our purpose as individuals and as a business. And I believe that God allows certain people to come into your life at certain periods of time, and for us, it was just a no-brainer that this is where we were supposed to be. And so ultimately, they offered us a space within their facility. So they are, you know, a wellness clinic that takes a holistic approach, and
which is something Larissa has always been adamant about.
Always.
And a lot of you who worked with us over the years know exactly what we mean when we say that.
Yeah, so, you know, we connected, and they offered us a spot within their location to be able to have our own private facility again. And so for us, this was like a win-win because we were able to partner with other people who were doing things that we can't do, okay? And same thing for them, like we do things that they can't do. But they all work together. All our services and everything, our passions, our gifts, what we're good at, what we love to do, it all works together to create this like ripple effect to really provoke change in people's lives and to provide healing for them. And, you know, long story short, whether you guys choose to believe this or not, God has gave me a vision long ago, gave my dad a vision long time ago about having a community, a place of healing for people. And I've always kind of held on to that. And even though, you know, there was times that I'm like, this can't be, and there's even times that I'm like, it's not worth it, I don't want this anymore. I just always knew that it was going to take place because God had spoken that over my life. And for a long time, I would stress myself out thinking that I had to do all that like Nate or I had to wear all those hats to provide these different services and these different, you know, categories of healing for people. And, you know, meeting Heather and Lenny at Hydrate and Heal just confirmed what God told me, is that like we're not designed to do everything. You know, you do the 1, 2, maybe 3 things at most that you're really, really good at, that God placed on your heart, that you're very passionate about. And you pursue those things, and you get better at those things, and you master those things. And then you team up with like-minded people who have a common purpose. And then they work on the 1 to 3 things that they're really good at. And you guys combine forces, and that's how you really change people's lives. That's how you change the world. And for us, that's how we can ultimately heal people. Heal people we were like an old couple because he's grabbing his knees and I'm like, my back hurts.
Oh man, it kicked our butt. Well, it took us 5 hours, and it wasn't a lot of flooring. I'm just talking about edges. The middle was done. That was easy.
Well,
but to fill in the corners and the edges took me 5 hours.
Well, part of that was because we've never done this before.
Look,
right, so.
when we got our original flooring back in India, 2,300 square feet, they put the turf and the flooring down in a matter of like 1 hour. And it took me 5 hours
they
just
had
to
a
do the
team of like
corners.
3 or 4 people though, and they were professionals.
Oh my God.
It was just Nate laying the flooring. I did opt out of that because I was not about to butcher our very expensive gym flooring. So I trusted him more with that than I did myself. But it got done, guys, so now we can offer in-person as well as the virtual that we have been offering. I do believe that we'll continue to do in-home for select people, but ultimately we do want you to come in facility. We also offer nutritional consulting, so that is an option if you guys don't really need a lot of help with the exercise level, but your nutrition is a huge component of getting results, and that's just the area that you're struggling the most. We can just laser in on that for you. But now, because of this partnership with Hydrate and Heal, we can.
Before that, we also offer chair massages as well. So if you got you're tense in the shoulders, the back, the arms, so on and so on, we can help you with that as well to help relieve stress. And that is something that'll be kicked off that we were starting back in Indy, but now we're definitely going to officially kick it off here with the new gym studio. And I'm trying to get in the habit of calling this place a studio and not a gym, since it's significantly smaller and it's much more of a private setup, even though it was always trainer-client based. Now it is an official studio, and I just kind of get an idea of saying studio versus gym, so people don't have a misconception, think they're going to walk in to some huge place with machines and all these people and so on. No, it's going to be the greatest private experience that you can possibly be offered, and we're going to be there with you guys every step of the way. But we're going to offer you hardcore personal training, meeting you right where you are, nutritional consulting, making sure you're doing all the right things, getting all the right things in so that you can get all the right things out, and then also providing some massage therapy as well, just from the chair massage perspective, just to kind of keep you from being as tense, keep you loose and just mobile in between sessions, so that you continue to be very functional and get the best out of your workouts.
Yes, absolutely. And because of our partnership with Hydrate and Heal, we can extend these services to what we're able to offer and just add to that never settle experience. So also IV vitamin infusions and shots. They actually have a nurse practitioner on site available. They'll do your blood work. They'll see exactly what is going on in your body and then make decisions accordingly based off your results. So that's great, guys, because we know that deficiencies in the body can lead to long-term problems, illness, disease, and it can also keep you from getting the results that you're wanting to get when it comes to your nutrition and your personal training, right? Your exercise routine, your stress levels, your vitamin and mineral levels, all that stuff in the body matters. And if they are out of whack, you will notice issues in every other area of your life. So really making sure that your balance there is going to be huge. Also, bioidentical hormone therapy, very similar as far as having balance here, but now we're talking about your hormones. A lot of different things can affect your hormones, from your eating, external factors, environmental factors, right? And just like aging, right? Our hormones change as we get older, and this is something that you can do to make sure that your body is working for you and not against you. Again, this is really going to help you when it comes to your nutrition and personal training, because if your hormones are out of whack, I can tell you right now, we may be able to manipulate that some, but you're going to hit a plateau eventually. Because if you're ultimately getting results in the gym boils down to your hormones working properly. And we can manipulate your hormones based off of exercise and nutrition, but to only a certain extent. If your body's out of whack, or as we age, things are inevitable, that really provides the environment necessary to get the results you're looking for. So really having those in line is going to help you get to where you're going, whether that's fat loss or getting stronger, anything like that. And then number 6 here is ozone therapy. So this is like ultraviolet therapy, ozone therapy. This is used a lot with holistic medicine, and I believe anybody can do this, right? But a lot of times you're going to see people utilize this service if they have extreme illness or disease. So things like cancer or autoimmune issues. This is going to be a great option for you guys to really start healing the body from the inside out and incorporating it with these other things that we've mentioned to really, again, allow your body to find homeostasis and healing. And number 7 here is cryotherapy, specifically cryo skin. We can offer cryo slimming, sculpting, toning, and facials. So this is, if you guys don't know what cryotherapy is in general, it uses cold, right? And particularly like cryo slimming, which is, I think, probably what a lot of our client base would be interested in, is basically a fat reduction technique. And this is going to kill off your fat cells. So basically, guys, when you gain fat, whether you gain fat from overeating and not having a lot of exercise, or you gain fat from pregnancy, if you are putting on weight in any kind of capacity, unfortunately, those fat cells stay there. Now, you can lose weight and they will shrink back down, but those fat cells stay there with you long term, which is why people who have weight issues when they're young typically struggle with weight for the rest of their lives, because those fat cells keep filling up, for lack of a better word, right? And then you keep getting new ones. This is a great way to get rid of those fat cells. Now, if you don't work out, if you don't eat well, then you will put back on fat. But if you are doing the things that we have talked about up to this point and utilizing our other services, this technique is permanent. It provides permanent results where you can maintain it long term. And even for people like me, I'm excited to use their services here soon in the future, because as you guys know, we have 2 kids. I have never been overweight in my life.
Speaking of,
yeah, here comes one of them. I have never been overweight in my life until I had children. And whether, I don't know if you can see it in my clothes or not, but I do have that pouch still of just like excess skin, excess fat, where I can't lose it, guys. Nothing that I do in the gym or what I eat will allow me to lose that area in my stomach from the loose skin and just the damage that was done to my abdominal wall. Just like that fat that's really kind of been stuck there. And for a long time, I thought that my only option was surgery. And Nate will attest to this, that I have talked about it and gone back and forth about getting surgery ever since having children. Like, pretty much all the time.
every day.
I wouldn't say every day, but maybe like once a
Multiple
week.
times a day.
So it's something that has bothered me. I don't like it. And now I'm very grateful, because I was having this internal struggle with like, Larissa, are you really that vain that you're going to go cut yourself to get your stomach back looking the way that it used to look? And so I would have this internal struggle like, are you that vain? Yeah, you might be, I don't know. But I would fight back and forth about it, because I wanted to, that area right here, to look like the effort that I was putting in, because I was seeing results everywhere else in my body but that area. And then on the other hand, I'm like, I don't want to cut myself. I don't want to do that to my body. Like, how could I do that? And so this cryotherapy, cryoslimming really provides me with a better, non-invasive, more effective, in my opinion, option to really get the results that I'm looking for. So maybe you can relate to that, but that's what I'll be doing in the future. So I'm fully ready to take advantage of that service. But yeah, we went from offering like 3 services on our own to now we're offering 7 because of this partnership.
Really 2 services.
2.
I did the massage stuff and like a lot of deep stretching, but it wasn't really a service yet. but now it will officially be a service here starting tomorrow, I guess.
Yep. So
We're excited and, wanted to share all of this with you guys and pretty much just give you just an understanding of staying positive, keeping hope alive, and keeping your motivation levels at a high level as well, and never giving up on the goal ahead. If it's something that you're truly passionate about, and again, that key word, you're passionate about it. It's your purpose in life. It's something that, you feel you would do for free. If it's one of those things, never, ever, ever give up on it. And especially, guys, like we mentioned earlier, don't put all this work in just to get up to the finish line, just to turn away. If you're gonna be consistent, you're gonna work at something, guys, you just gotta keep going. You never know when you're gonna get your big break. Now, this space is a lot smaller than what we had in Indy, but there's two things about this space that makes it so much more satisfying for me. One is that it's something that I know that we'll be able to maintain, and we could be able to partner with like-minded people to be able to do some other things that, like Larissa mentioned, her envision for her never settled before me and her ever met. We get to do those things now. And the second thing is, we get to do it in a place we always wanted to be, always wanted to live. The environment here is very conducive to the services that we provide and offer, and it just couldn't be any better. Our kids love it, we love it, Roxy loves it. Like, it just couldn't get any better, guys. We just want you to never give up, never lose hope, and never settle on your dreams. Keep working, stay consistent, and keep that positive mindset.
Yep, guys, and to close out here, if you've stuck out with us this long, guys, thank you for listening to our journey. But guys, that we have with Hydrate and Heal, by taking advantage of 15% off any 3-month personal training or nutritional consulting package.
15%? I thought we was gonna do 10, maybe 5.
I'm feeling generous. We're gonna do 15%. Look, 15% off of our 3-month packages, which those are already discounted, guys. So that's huge. You're getting a lot of savings here. And then nearly 50%. So just right under 50% off for cryo slimming, which is huge. You're literally going to save so much money. It's ridiculous, but we are only allowing this until Friday. Okay, we're getting into the space. Friday's your last day to take advantage of these offers. And if not, then you'll just have to pay regular price. So I think it would be crazy if you guys are on the edge about any of these services. It would be silly not to take advantage of this, because I can guarantee you, you're probably not going to see discounted prices on our already discounted services. So make sure to take advantage of that now, guys. We love you. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for allowing us to continue to pursue our passion and our purpose. And we are dedicated to helping you discover your passion and purpose for training and ultimately find healing in your life. So we love you guys. Until next time, never give up.
Never lose hope.
Never settle.
All right, guys, I'm on full daddy mode now. Let's go get this one back in bed for like another 30 minutes or so.